There's a couple of clients that we're working with right now came on board to work with us for a fat loss goal, but we've actually had to spend time taking them through that reverse diet and getting them into like a safe, healthy, happy metabolic condition before we can actually drop back and allow them to diet. Because if they're to diet on what they're currently eating right now, that would slowly kill anyone.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Coaching Society podcast. Again, there is 3 of us this week. Hayley has decided to join. She's on Michaela's lap this week. And
she's actually really heavy. Like, my feet go numb.
She's 20 kilos. And we'll see if she stays there for the whole episode and doesn't interrupt, but I doubt it. Someone will make a noise and she'll go running.
I don't know. She loves sitting on my lap.
Yeah, you can fall asleep, Paige. You'll be okay.
Her hair is like literally up my nose.
I know.
If I sneeze mid-episode,
I'm
sorry. I hope no one's listening to this with headphones.
It's your fault, Hades. But obviously, I'm back. Stace was on last week with yourself. How did you find?
It's been a hot minute since you've been on the podcast.
Yeah, I think it's been like 3 or 4 weeks since I've been on, and I'm back. And we've got a good episode today. I think it's going to be one that's going to be really, really useful for pretty much everyone around nutrition and reverse dieting and the ins and outs of reverse dieting, because a lot of people don't even know what reverse dieting is, and it's something that even now, when there's so much knowledge out there and so much information out there about it, we mention it to people and it scares the absolute shit out of them.
I've been speaking to a lot of clients about this. Actually, I have a lot of my one-to-one clients currently going through reverse diets due to a heap of reasons. So yeah, we thought that this would be a fantastic episode to bring to all of you guys, and hopefully you learn a thing or two about a reverse diet, because yeah, it's not really a common thing that many people know about.
Yeah, it's not talked about enough, which we'll again cover in today's episode. But let's start with some advice and insights for the week.
Yeah, literally, like I have a dog hair up my nose.
I'm watching you pick your nose live on the podcast. That's fantastic.
Well,
really good.
Well, what would you expect? Like, look at this. Like, she's a Samoyed. Like, her hair is ridiculous. Like, I have found white dog hair in places you don't want to know.
I found white dog hair in places you don't want to know. Yeah, so what's your advice? What have you got for us?
My advice for the week.
Other than don't do a podcast episode with Hayley sitting on your lap.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with her hair at the moment, but it's everywhere. My advice for the week. So, I have very recently, like in the last week, actually hired a coach of my own, and I am very, very excited to be working with this coach. He specializes in Olympic lifting, which is something that I have always had like a very keen interest on, but I've just never stuck to it long enough to see like any decent progress. Like I love the sport. I love like the movements themselves. Like they're fun, they're fast paced, they're quick, which is kind of what I love. So yeah, I've hired a coach, and my advice for the week would be like, if you lack knowledge in an area, even if it's like an area that is like known to you, reach out to someone and ask for help. Like I forgot what it's like to have a coach, because I haven't been coached by someone in like a while. Yep. So having a coach working with me, I am over the moon. Like I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's really important. Like we always do it with business, with life, with every element, and then obviously hiring a coach, like you wanted someone to take all of the guesswork out of it, take the thinking out of it for you, and hiring someone that has more knowledge than you in Olympic lifting and structuring programming around Olympic lifting. Yeah, I think you can do it in any element, whether it's hiring a nutrition coach, whether it's something in your own personal life. Like we've just hired a cleaner and they're going to clean better than us. Also, we don't have the time to clean, so they're going to take that job off of us. So it's really, really similar in my eyes.
And I feel like I'm upskilling every session I do as well. Like obviously it's like within the industry that I work in. So I feel like I'm learning things, like I'm upskilling what I'm able to bring to our clients within Coaching Society. So yeah, I'm loving it so far. It's very early days. I'm only in my testing week this week, and I have been humbled, to say the least. But I'm very excited to see where this takes me, and yeah, I couldn't recommend it.
Next few months are going to be fun.
Yeah. For you. I'm going to be complaining the whole time.
I know. I'm not looking forward to it.
Do you remember last time I did like Olympic lifting block?
Yeah, you complained the whole time.
Yeah.
So I can't wait. You'll be sore. You'll be, Can't wait.
Anyway,
Heidi's obviously sick of your story because she's gone to sleep now. So yeah, she's out like a light.
God.
But my advice is based off of obviously starting the Ignite in 8 challenge and having conversations with you about the wins that all of the ladies have had, the struggles that all of the ladies have had. And a lot of them are just general population people, like most people listening to this. And if they are having those struggles, then I'm sure that these are going to probably resonate with a lot of people. And the two biggest things that you mentioned that people are struggling with, first one is just being organized with nutrition and tracking their food in advance. Like so many people just tracking as the day goes on rather than being organized, tracking in advance, add the whole day in all at once, which I feel like I repeat myself 10 times a day, but people still don't do it.
But once you've cracked the code to it, like it just makes your life so much easier.
Yeah. And like tracking your food and monitoring your food intake works. Like it gets you results. So if you can just get ahead, be organized with that. That's the number one thing. The second thing is with training, progressively overloading and making sure every single week you never do a workout twice. You never do like the exact same thing twice. You do the same workout and the same session, but you increase the predominantly weight, if not the reps. So change something with that workout. See it as a challenge. Like see what you did last time as a challenge to try and improve with the overall amount that you do every single week. And again, like you noticed it, there were so many ladies on the challenge who got 2 or 3 weeks in and you looked at their training results and they'd done the same thing for 2 or 3 sessions. So really important that every single session you improve in one way or another.
But it's such a common thing. Like so many people, you know, if you're listening now and like, oh, I've been doing the same movement and using the same weight and using the same rep for like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks time. Like it is very, very common to not know to do this. It's not like common knowledge, I guess. So yeah, if you're listening in and you don't do this, then track in advance and increase your weight each session that you're able to.
Yeah. I used to see it in the gym, like obviously working there for a long time. You'd see people coming into the gym doing the same workout like for literally years and they're using the same weight dumbbells and like you speak to them and they're doing the same reps and the same sets and the same session and they're going backwards. Like they're not even maintaining, they're going backwards doing that. So that's my 2 bits of advice for me. Bonus. How good? Reverse dieting?
Let's jump into it.
So we've got a few different things with reverse dieting. We want to go from like the ground up with it. We don't want to just kind of brush over anything. So we'll probably dive into it in a lot of depth today.
Well, it is quite a complex topic and there is a lot to it, but we're going to try and Mick and Russ it, try and simplify it to like layman terms because it is such like a complex concept. If we try and overcomplicate it and, you know, overwhelm you guys, then you're probably never going to do it. So yeah, we're going to Mick and Russ it.
Yeah. So we're going to try and dumb it down for us. That's what we do. So in terms of a reverse diet, a lot of people might hear the term reverse diet and not have a clue what it is. So let's start with that. Let's start with what is a reverse diet. How would you explain to the people at home what a reverse diet is?
To put it like plain and simple, a reverse diet is a process of just gradually increasing your calories over a period of time to pretty much take yourself from like being in a calorie deficit, however aggressive that calorie deficit may have been, up towards your maintenance. Now, by doing this restores your metabolic rate so that you can sit at maintenance and you can hold a very similar physique. You can be eating more, having more energy, sleeping better, performing better, recovering better due to the process called a reverse diet.
Yeah. And I often refer to it called the diet after the diet. A lot of people think of fat loss and think of a diet as a diet must be towards fat loss. A diet is your food intake. Yep. And then you've got a deficit or a fat loss phase. And the reverse diet is a phase that comes after your fat loss phase.
Bridge.
And yeah, it might not always be at the very, very end, which we'll cover in a little while. It could be a reverse diet in the middle of your entire overall fat loss phase. And so many people are caught up in the feeling and the thought that they have to be in a fat loss phase forever to maintain their physique. They'll literally just think they've got to cut out food for the rest of their life. And without generalizing, I'm going to generalize, ladies is the most common.
Oh,
right?
yeah, 100%.
They think that like to be skinny or to have the physique that they want, they have to just keep cutting out food. And it's completely,
less and less.
Yeah, it's not the way. And we're hoping that just a few people might change their minds on
well,
that
this
from
episode shed some light on it because, yeah, so many people, and I think that it just comes down to like a lack of probably like education and talking about reverse diets. But so many people think that you're either dieting or you're building. Not many people talk about maintaining, and not many people especially talk about the bridge between dieting and maintaining, that being a reverse diet.
Yeah. So let's talk about why you should reverse diet, or why someone should reverse diet. And I think any single person who goes in a fat loss phase needs to reverse diet at the end of it.
Yep.
So it's really, really crucial. And the reason why is because if you want to maintain your result for the long term, but without having to just completely starve yourself, then you need to go through that reverse diet to build yourself up to a maintenance phase. And it's effectively building you up to maintenance so that you are eating more on a day-to-day basis. You can have more social events and things like that without any excess weight gain.
But it's not just like the physical side of things, like avoiding excess weight gain and holding your fatigue and all that sort of stuff. Like, it's the health benefits as well. Like, there are so many negative ramifications from under eating or eating less and less and less because you want to stay like a certain shape or a certain figure. Like, again, as I said before, you're going to recover better. You're not going to be so sore and depleted. You're going to have more energy. You're not going to be as lethargic. For women, like if you're dieting for so long and you don't go through a reverse diet, you can have problems and issues with your cycle. Like, again, there's so many positive benefits from doing a reverse diet and getting yourself into like a maintenance, using that bridge, than just, holding a physique or anything like that. Like, the amount of women that we work with, that I come across, that have been like dieting, I guess, for years and have experienced all of these things, and they just think that this is their norm. Like, this is just how they should feel every single day, like having no energy, being sore all the time and losing their period or those sorts of things. It's just insane.
Yeah, literally. And it's crazy common that we get so many people come on board and we put them on what we believe to be a deficit to their maintenance, and they don't lose any weight.
Because that's their maintenance.
Yeah.
They've taught their body that their maintenance is like 1,500 calories. Like, that's not normal. Yeah. That's not okay.
100%. And like your maintenance should be where your maintenance is, as the numbers will state. Whereas over time, that's where when you need to actually go through a reverse diet is when your calories are so low and you're not losing any weight. And you're feeling like you're completely lacking energy and depleted. That's when you need to go through a reverse diet. Mm-hmm. So there's two real, times when someone would go for a reverse diet. The first one would be if you've been under eating for a long, long time and you're eating a really low amount of calories, like anywhere, obviously everyone's different with their weight and everything, but anywhere between 1,000 to 1,500 calories a day. If you're sitting there and you're not losing weight, you need a reverse diet. That's probably the first and one of the most common, I would say. Yep. And we get a lot of people who come to us. Their goal is fat loss. We put them in a deficit. They might lose weight for a few weeks and then they plateau very, very quickly. And that's due to the nature of what their nutrition has looked like previously with under eating for a long time. Yeah,
there's been a lot of instances when we get clients, because we work with like predominantly women that do come from like a history of under eating, that we actually can't do anything with them until we reverse diet them. Like, there's a couple of clients that we're working with right now that they came on board, to work with us for a fat loss goal, but we've actually had to spend time taking them through that reverse diet and getting them into like a safe, healthy, happy metabolic condition before we can actually drop back and allow them to diet. Because if they're to diet on what they're currently eating right now, then that would slowly kill anyone.
Yeah. And the other time as well is, like, let's say you've got a specific time frame you're aiming towards and you're going through quite an intense fat loss phase. The perfect example of this is a bodybuilder working towards a comp. Or you've got someone leading up to a photo shoot. If someone's trying to get as lean as possible leading up to a photo shoot, when you get to that end goal and that end time, that's where then it's time to then reverse diet back up to maintenance. And you don't just get to that perfect physique that you're wanting and stay at that same number of calories forever, because you'll slow everything right down.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm yet to come across it, but I'll be rejoicing the day that I do. When someone comes to us, because when like a lot of clients come to us, they say, I want to build muscle mass or I want to lose body fat. Like it's either one or the other. The day that I get a client that comes on board with us and says, I want a reverse diet, like help me do a reverse diet, that'll be a good day. Yeah. Like there's not many people out there know that reverse diets exist, but in my opinion, they're probably one of the most like important phases of your physique, of your health journey that anyone can do and everyone should be educated on.
Yeah. And like there's a very, very big, clear reason why people aren't educated on it and why people don't talk about it. Because it's not glamorous.
No, it's not sexy at all.
No, absolutely.
And it's boring.
It is. It's boring. It's tedious. It's hard. And also mentally it can be really tough. So the reason people don't talk about it or advertise it, if you look at other big companies like F45 and things like that, like they don't talk about reverse diets. They just talk about 8-week challenge and that's all you have to do. And then you finish up at the 8 weeks and you gain all the weight back again. And then you join up for their next one. Like it's all about the longevity of your results, and it doesn't get you an instant result. It is very, very hard not just to do, but it's also hard to coach because the mindset that you need to be able to instill with your client is really, really, like has to be really, really strong to be able to maintain the reverse diet when someone has had it instilled in them that they need to lose weight, they need to cut calories, cut food, skip meals, no carbs, all this other shit to try and stay as lean as possible. And we're trying to tell them to do the opposite.
Exact opposite.
Yeah.
It's going to go against the grain. Like for you, if you've never done this before, if you've never heard of this before, you're going to be like, but that's everything that like diet culture has told me not to do. So coaching it is bloody hard. But when you get your breakthroughs, like with a client, or when you see these clients start to recover better, sleep better, feel better, have more energy, like for a lot of people, like improve your sex drive. Like when you go through things like that and you see them and you can take your clients through this like health transformation, then it's better than getting someone like shredded.
Oh, way better. Yeah, absolutely. Losing weight generally is quite easy, whereas getting someone to go through a proper reverse diet phase into a build phase, that's harder and that's way more rewarding as a coach and as a person.
I think as well as that, like coaching it, just constant reassurance that they're going to be okay and that this is all a part of the process and that they're going to go through good days, they're going to go through bad days. They need someone to rely on to be like, you know what, we're going to increase your calories this fortnight or whatever it is because your reverse diet is ready for that stage, but it's going to be okay. I think back to the times when I was like chronically under eating and like I was quite unwell. If I was to try and go through what at that point in time I needed to go through a reverse diet by myself, I wouldn't have done it. I would have kept dieting for probably another however many years.
Yeah.
So yeah, doing it by yourself is really challenging.
Yeah.
Because it's so like mentally taxing and tedious.
It is really tough. And like you need that extra accountability, that extra support, that extra guidance through it. And there are so many other, I guess, outcomes that can happen from a reverse diet. Like so many people might be super, super scared of reverse dieting because they feel like they're just going to gain all the weight back. Like, I'm going to be eating more calories. Obviously, I'm going to get fat. I'm going to gain that weight back. But it's not the case. Like, I've had so many people lose weight and continue to lose weight through a reverse diet. And there's multiple reasons for that. So you've got obviously the increase in calories, increasing your metabolism, and that means that you're going to naturally burn more calories as the day goes on. Like your body's metabolism is actually going to burn more calories itself.
It's repairing itself.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going through like a metabolic repair from increasing calories.
Yeah. And I think everyone in the fitness industry uses this analogy of the fire and the fuel. But I use it all the time because to me in my brain it makes sense, which is probably why everyone uses it. But if you've got fuel, which is the food, and you've got fire, which is your body's metabolism. Okay, if you had a fire and you were to chuck loads and loads of fuel on that fire all at once, which is imagine going from a very, very drastic deficit to maintenance all at once, that fire is going to blow up. And that's what your body and your body is going to do. It's going to gain loads and loads of weight straight away. But what we're doing with a reverse diet is we're getting a little bit of that fuel or food and gradually adding it onto the fire.
Sprinkles.
Yeah. And you might see a little flame and then it settles back down, and a little flame and it settles back down. But eventually all of that fuel is still going to end up on the fire at the end of it, just not as quickly, and the fire is going to stay pretty low.
Yeah.
So that's exactly how the body works and how it works with the increase of metabolism. But the other really, really big thing that you notice when people go through a reverse diet, if they're even still losing weight, maintaining weight, but eating a lot more food, not only has their metabolism increased, but their exercise levels have increased.
Yeah.
Their energy is higher. They've got more carbs. They've got more food. They've got more fuel. Yeah. They're moving more.
You have no idea until you've gone through a reverse diet. And there's this one client in particular that I'm working with at the moment that we have just gotten to the end of her reverse diet. We've been sitting at maintenance for about 4 weeks now, just about to start her build. But this client in particular reminds me of this scenario because she had been under eating and thinking that, I think it was like 1,400 or something ridiculously low was just like normal. Like to eat that amount of food was normal, and to feel the way that she felt was normal. Yeah. But going through that reverse diet and like increasing her calories very slowly and guiding her through that process, she started to notice things and she was like, Mick, I feel so fucking strong. Like I am so strong in the gym. I've never been this strong before. And then she said to me, is this what it's meant to feel like? Like, is this what it's meant to feel like in the gym? And I'm like, yes, this is what it's truly meant to feel like. You're not meant to go to the gym and, be exhausted and like using a weight that is like deemed light, like feel like it's extremely heavy for you. Like that's not normal. Yeah. So the fact that I was able to facilitate that process and take her through that journey to know what real exercise feels like and looks like and, what she can actually do was incredible. So yes, 100% one of the best benefits from going through a reverse diet is like the physical changes or the performance changes that you'll endure because of it.
Yeah. And also the other form of exercise being just your NEAT. Your NEATs will increase. Your non-exercise activity thermogenesis will increase through the day, which is just you fidgeting, moving around. You'll get up more just because you've got
breathing.
More. Yeah, literally. And also like your steps will naturally increase. Like you'll see that without even having to implement that because obviously that's more subconscious. Like you're not thinking about doing that.
But if you're like depleted all the time, if you're like eating such little food, the thought of like getting up and going to the fridge, it's like, oh, I'm so tired. I can't do that. I'm just not going to do that. Whereas like if you're actually eating food and you're like, oh yeah, like I'll get up, I'll walk around, I'll, do this, do that. Like it's okay. It feels okay because you actually have energy to function. And this is where so many women and males like as well, so many women go wrong. Like they feel like their norm is to feel horrible all the time.
Yeah. And like you do, like people do feel horrible when they're at that sticky point of a diet. Like, yeah, they might look their best, but generally if you ask someone how they felt at that time, don't ask them in the moment because they're probably still looking
great.
Yeah, they're still looking at themselves thinking they feel great. And then if you ask them when they come out of it for a reverse diet, how did you actually feel back then? Yeah. They will probably say that they felt like shit.
I always use myself as an example because, again, like I'm like a very similar avatar to our clients. When I went through my first ever like proper physique transformation before my first shoot overseas, I like going through the process, like it was hard, it was challenging. Shoot day, I felt fucking incredible. I had so much adrenaline running through me. I was like incredibly lean. I felt awesome. But then going through the reverse diet and getting to the end of it, now when people ask me about my shoot, I'm like, physically, I looked fucking great. Yeah. Mentally and emotionally, I was on struggle street, like really, really struggling because it's not normal to be that lean and to diet for that long and to eat such little calories.
Yeah, literally. And that's I guess when we can lead into how to actually go through the reverse diet process.
Everyone's like, guys, you've told me the benefits of a reverse diet. I fucking get it.
I get it. I get it. I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. But how?
Have we sold this to you yet?
Yeah. It's like it is a tricky process, and we'll go through not just how to do it, but the biggest mistakes that people make that we see time and time again. The first biggest mistake is just not reverse dieting. Like you see it with bodybuilders who just get fat after a bodybuilding show because they don't reverse diet. If you go back to doing what you did, you will go back to being the way you were. And
even quicker.
Yeah, exactly. And go back there really quick. But with a reverse diet, basically we're going to look to increase your calories super gradually over a long period of time. You're probably looking at maybe 8 weeks to 16 weeks, even up to 6 months.
It depends how severe the deficit was that you're in.
Yeah, it depends how far away from your maintenance level you are. If you're only 500 calories under your maintenance, building up 500 calories might only take 8 or 10 weeks. If you are like 1,000 calories under your maintenance,
which isn't uncommon,
and you've been there for 6 to 12 months, if not longer, sometimes years, then that's where it's going to take a lot longer because your metabolism has got used to such a low calorie intake. So every single person will be different with this, and I can't blanket say you're going to have to increase by 50 calories a week and you will go through a reverse diet of 50 calories a week. You have to assess, reassess, adjust things all the time. But I would say probably about 50 calories to 100 calories per week. For most people, on average, start there and just assess and see how you go. So the big things that you want to do, you want to increase your calories, but also your macronutrients. Obviously, your macros make up your calories. And generally, to start off with, what I do with most people is I increase all of their macros evenly to a certain point. And then you want to make sure the biggest mistake that people make is you are just as adherent when you are going through a reverse diet, if not more adherent than when you're actually in your fat loss phase.
I always say this to clients that are about to start a reverse diet. I'm like, you need to be meticulous with your planning, with your tracking, because this is going to be harder than dieting. Dieting, you see pretty much results every single week. Like, it's great. You get that instant gratification straight away. Reverse dieting, you don't. So you need to track your nutrition, monitor your macronutrients, monitor how much is coming into your body, because we can't reverse diet unless I, as your coach, have that exact information.
Yeah. And it's really, really, really crucial to be like over the top adherent, because as soon as you do start slipping up and not being as accurate, you're like, oh, I don't need to weigh my food now because I'm reverse dieting, or I'm not looking for fat loss. So I don't need to weigh my food. I don't need to track my food every day. I can have a few extra snacks that I'm not actually tracking, or I can go out for dinner a lot more frequently. You will get to the point where you can do all of those things.
You should be patient.
But yeah, when you're going through a reverse diet, you're still in a deficit. So if there is any like lack of adherence there, it's going to take you out of that deficit, and you might as well just go to maintenance straight away. Yeah,
and then you're going to experience the effects of not reverse dieting, which is like you might be really lean at the start, but in like a couple of weeks' time, trust me, and I say this from personal experience because I've gone through a failed reverse diet before and it wasn't good, you will gain that weight back within weeks, plus a little bit more.
Yeah. And talking of weight, like that's the biggest metric that you can use to, obviously you've got progress photos as well, but scale weight is the biggest metric that you can use to monitor the rate of which you will reverse diet and the rate that your metabolism is increasing. Ideally, I generally set a threshold of 5% of someone's body weight would be the amount that you would be happy to kind of gain until you get to maintenance. So let's say you're 80 kilos, you might get up to 84 kilos at the most, but you need to monitor your scale weight really, really, really consistently every single day, because then you can know whether, okay, my weight is maintaining, I can increase my calories again or a little bit quicker. Alternatively, if the weight starts to spike up and it starts gaining by 500 grams a week, you know your calories are too high and they're above your maintenance. And I'm going to take this back again, as long as you're being adherent to tracking your calories. Like you can't make any of those decisions unless the accuracy and the adherence
unless
is
you've
there.
Got like the raw data right in front of you to make this informed decision on.
Yeah. And ideally, with the reverse diet, you want to increase your calories as quick as you possibly can while still maintaining weight.
That's the goal.
Yeah. If anyone can hear Haiti snoring in the background, by the way.
It's not me. It's my dog.
I was like, geez, babe, you're breathing heavy over there. But yeah, you want to do it as quick as you can, because you don't want to be reverse dieting forever. And if you can increase your calories up to maintenance within 6 to 8 weeks and still maintain your weight or within 5% of where your weight was at, then fantastic. That's great, because that means you can then sit at maintenance for a little while, settle there, reset your metabolism, and then you could either go into a diet again or you could enter into a build phase or whatever you want to do. So effectively, that's the majority of where we would look to go with your reverse diet and what we would do.
The other metric I would look at as well is definitely progress photos. Like your photos are going to show you your exact body composition. Scale weight gives you, like, again, data just to make informed decisions on. But your progress photos is going to visually show you, or your coach, depending on if you have a coach or not, what's actually going on. Like, are you gaining excessive body fat? Is your scale weight increasing? But I'm so sorry if you can hear this dog.
Heidi, why are you snoring and showing up for the camera? Honestly, she never snores.
I know.
Oh, well.
Like, I want attention.
Yeah.
But no, progress photos is very, very important because you can see, like, exactly what your body composition is doing. Like, are you gaining body fat? Are you getting, like, more muscular? Are you gaining lean muscle mass? Like, what's going on here? Because, like, the end goal, I guess, and this is why I love getting to the end of a reverse diet, you want to compare, like, your leanest photo, I guess, to your current photo, and then compare what caloric value you're actually consuming. So I did one of these on my Instagram the other day. I have another client that's going through a reverse diet, and she's been able to increase her calories by 200 calories a day, which is, for some people, an entire meal, and her physique has not changed one bit. If anything, she actually has more volume in her glutes, and I'm like,
That's awesome.
Reverse diet, baby.
Yeah, literally. When it comes to scale weight and progress photos as well, and the frequency of these, we've said scale weight every single day, and first thing in the morning is when you want to weigh yourself. So I get a lot of people ask, like, when should I weigh myself? Or, I haven't weighed myself yet today, but I'll do it when I get home. If you miss a day, don't weigh yourself that day, because, like, I was 2.5 kilos heavier last night than I am this morning. So you will be, that's where people will jump on. Yeah, it's not reliable. People will jump on the scales in the evening and shit themselves thinking that they weigh so much more and everything's going wrong. And then they start, like, resenting the process of a reverse diet. You want to ideally go to the toilet as soon as you wake up, weigh yourself, no clothes, first thing in the morning, every single day, 7 days a week. Because then you can reverse the reverse, if that makes sense. Like, let's say, for example, you increase your food, things are going well, things are going great. 4 weeks in, you then do another increase, and the weight does start to creep up, which will happen at certain times. Obviously, you've got to look at all of the other external factors, like your cycle. Have you increased your carbohydrate intake? Like, are you drinking more water?
Are you being adherent?
Yeah, are you being super adherent, or has that slipped? Like, what else would impact your scale weight increasing? And if there's nothing else that would or should impact it, then it's like, okay, maybe the calories have just gone up a little bit too high. And you can do one of two things. You can either keep them there for another couple of weeks and just let your weight settle back down, because it will come back down as your body adapts. Or you might just drop them down by 50 calories or somewhere around there to settle it back down again and then go back up. And just think of it like a zigzag. Like, you might not always go up in a linear fashion, 100 calories every week for 10 weeks, and that's 1,000 calories. It might go 100 calories, down 50 again. Let's go another 50 and then up 100.
Yeah.
And it will zigzag up and down based on what your weight does.
Yeah. So if you're taking a scale weight every single day, you're going to have that knowledge. You're going to have something to be like, okay, my body is ready for this. Progress photos every week.
Yeah. Progress photos every week. I've actually changed my mind on this too.
Ooh, please tell me.
I used to get my clients to do their progress photos on a Sunday every single week. I've changed it to a Saturday morning.
I know why.
Because Saturdays generally is most people's high calorie day. Most people's day off. Most people have events on a Saturday. Most people might be a bit hungover on a Sunday morning. Obviously,
I was waiting for that. I would love to, like, your clients. I mean, you've had most of your clients for over 3 years now. Like, who's your longest?
I've had some clients for probably more than 3 years. No, well, Reese has been with me for a long time, but then I've got, like, Neil and Glenn and Marie, who I used to actually train at the gym.
So what would that be, like 4 years?
I've coached Marie for 5 to 6 years. Yeah. Gosh, how good.
Yeah.
But yeah, progress photos every Saturday, or pick a day that works best for you, that you know you're probably going to be adherent the day before. So it could be a Saturday morning every week, it could be a Wednesday morning every week. It doesn't matter. Same day every week, and try and do it in the morning as well, because then you don't have any excess bloating or anything.
I used to do mine every Saturday morning when I was like had a physique goal. It'd be Saturday morning.
Again, like, although for some people, depends how much weight you're carrying, I guess. But for some people, for you, for example, when you were leading up to your photo shoot, we'd do your photos before you had any food, because you were pretty lean. And any food that you'd had would impact how you looked.
Oh, yeah.
So it's similar to with scale weight, where you want to weigh yourself before you've had any food, before you've consumed any drinks, because you want to make sure that it's as consistent as possible. The lighting is going to be the same as well in your progress photos. Like, that's one thing we see all the time. People just taking progress photos in any other room, dark
pitch black.
lighting.
It's like, seriously, I can't see anything.
you want to have the same lighting, the same undies, the same like position every single time, so you can crystal clear see if there's a reduction if you're in a fat loss phase, or if you're in a reverse diet, to see that your physique is staying the same,
holding shape.
Yeah, if not even improving. Yeah.
Would you look at any other metrics, obviously besides from the obvious scale weight and progress photos? Would you look at anything else?
I think one other metric to prove that the extra calories is helping is your strength, and looking at like the lifts in the gym. Like look at the last 6 months while you're in a diet and how quickly was your rate of progress with all of your lifts. Like were you able to increase your movements by 5% on average over a 6-week block? And then now you're in a reverse diet eating 300, 400, 500 calories more a day. Are you increasing over the course of a 6-week block by 7 or 8% rather than 5%? That shows that the extra energy that you're consuming is going to be helping you with your training.
Yeah. I think the other things that I would look at as well, and this is something that we look at every single week within like our one-to-one clients, is things like your bios, your biometrics. So I would monitor sleep quality and quantity. I would also monitor energy levels, and probably, or performance is definitely one of them, but any like major difference within your cycle as well, being a woman, as I said at the start of this podcast. Did I say women? Being a woman?
Yeah, being a woman.
Woman.
If you are a multiple of
if you are a woman.
You always get woman and woman confused.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, it's funny that I'm a women's health coach. Anyway.
You're a woman's health coach.
I'm a woman. I would look at your cycle. So as I was saying before, a lot of women that undereat, they start to see like, their cycle is an extortionate amount, or like it's very irregular, or you're having abnormal pain or anything like that. So again, I would monitor how your cycle's going if you're a woman trying to reverse diet.
Yeah. It's very, very important to look at every element, because you will pick more and more positives of eating more food from that too. Like it's not just to see, is this reverse diet working like from a data point of view. It's more so to see...
How am I feeling? Do I feel more human?
Yeah. How are you feeling? Are you feeling good with this? Because you might then go, you know what? I'm pretty comfortable with how I feel in my own body and my physique. I'm eating more food, and look at all of these other benefits that I've got from actually eating rather than starving myself. And you might decide that you don't want to go through a diet phase again after that. Keep
a bit of a log, like a logbook, or like on your notes on your phone or something like that, just to like rate your energy levels, monitor your cycle. Yeah. Rate how you're feeling, how you're sleeping, how you're recovering, how are you performing, just so that you actually have something physical to look back on and actually draw those conclusions and reflect back on. Because again, a reverse diet, it's not glamorous, it's not sexy, and it's like really challenging at times. Having something physical to look back on and be like, you know what, like I am getting more energy. You know what, I am getting stronger. You know what, my physique is holding out. Like I'm feeling better. Having that that reflection point, I guess. If you're not guided by a coach who makes you do that reflection every single week.
Yeah, it's really important. Yeah, really important to do it. Either do it yourself or have someone else guide you through doing that.
Yeah.
And then at the end of a reverse diet, because I think that pretty much summarizes how to do a reverse diet.
My legs are so numb.
Heidi, why are you so heavy? Maybe Heidi needs to go on an actual diet.
Yeah.
Bit of a fat loss phase coming up, Heidi?
Well, since we've moved houses, we don't we walk every morning, but it's not as big as our old walk where we used to live.
Half an hour instead of 45 minutes.
Yeah, and she's kind of getting fat.
No, don't say that. She's got feelings too.
You're chunky monkey.
People really seeing the insight of how we treat our dog. She's
not a dog. She's a human.
Yeah, she is. So yeah, that's the, I guess, majority of how to do a reverse diet. Is there anything else you would like to add on how to do a reverse diet? I'll talk about macros now as well.
No, dive into macros.
Cool. So I mentioned that with macros, as you're increasing your calories, just increase your macros evenly to start with, but you don't want to increase them evenly forever. What you want to look to do is we're going to look at protein to start with. You want to build up your protein to the point where you get to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, and that is your body weight at the time. Remember that your weight might change as you go through a reverse diet. So I used the example of 80 kilos earlier. It might go up to 84, but you want to times that by 2, and that's how many grams of protein you want to get to. If anyone can see the hair flicking off my finger that's distracting the fuck out of me, that's where you want to get to.
You should try and be me, babe. I have the the culprit sitting on me.
I don't know where that hair came from. Like, not a fucking clue. But yeah, 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. And most people, if they need to go through a reverse diet, are not eating that amount at the start. If you are, brilliant. If you're not most people, fantastic. You can keep your protein probably the same. You don't really need to change it. Then we look at fats. Okay, so your fats, again, most people will probably be under eating fats if they're in a severe deficit and need a reverse. So build your fats up with your protein and your carbs until you get your fats to 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. So if you're 90 kilos, it's going to be if you're 80 kilos, it's going to be 96 grams of fats. When you get to the point where your protein is capped out at 2 grams per kilogram of body weight and your fats are capped out at 1.2 grams, that's where then you just purely increase from carbohydrates. And you're going to absolutely love me for saying that.
Load up the carbs, baby.
Because let's say if you get to the point where your protein and your fats are maxed and you're at 1800 calories, for example, in the next month or two, you might increase your calories by 200 to 300 calories. You're going to be increasing that purely from carbohydrates. So you might get 50 to 75 grams extra carbs in your diet, which is a lot of carbohydrates that you are going to be able to use for your fuel, for your workouts, and your energy is going to be through the roof.
Yeah, you're going to feel phenomenal.
Literally. So that's how to do a reverse diet. At the end of a reverse diet, that's where a lot of people go, well, what's next? When do I know when I've finished? Like, how do I know when I've finished a reverse diet? You want to set yourself approximately like a maintenance level that you want to get to. You might not quite get to it and you might be sitting slightly under it and be feeling really, really good. And you're like, okay, I'm happy here. Then you've got to make a decision. What do you want to do?
I would probably recommend just quickly sitting there for maybe 4 weeks, just to sit there to kind of let your metabolism adjust and go through that full like reset button and then make the decision after.
Definitely, let it reset for a little bit and then work out, okay, am I going to keep going with this and increase or am I going to reduce? And if you're looking to increase from that point of now like you're effectively your new maintenance level, you're going to look to go through a build phase and going to look to try and build as much muscle as possible. And again with this, you've got to be wholeheartedly in to building muscle. And you could probably look to do things a little bit more aggressively, knowing that the goal at that stage
is to
gain weight. Like if you want to gain muscle, you've got to gain weight. You don't want to gain too much unnecessary body fat where you're going to feel uncomfortable, but you do want to put yourself, in my opinion, in the best possible position to gain as much muscle as you can. So you might then increase by 200 calories every couple of weeks in big jumps to give yourself that best potential to gain muscle. And that's depending on where you're at. If, however, which is probably 95% of people who go through a reverse diet, you're in the scenario that we spoke about where you had been chronically under eating for a long time, you had slowed your metabolism down inadvertently and not on purpose, and you then need to go for a reverse diet to build back up to maintenance, you're probably still wanting to lose body fat. So sit at maintenance for that 4, maybe 6 weeks, and then you can then go back into a deficit. But I've had clients that they might be eating 1,200 calories, which is 3/4 of fuck all, and they are not eating anything whatsoever. I think I've had 1,200 calories today already, and it's only 11 a.m.
Yeah, me too.
So they're eating like 1,200 calories, not losing any weight. Like they're being super adherent. I'm getting them to send me photos of their food, and they're weighing everything and whatnot. And we're like, okay, reverse diet. We build them up over 6 to 9 months to 2,000 calories. They might have gained a little bit of weight, but not much. And we then go down to 1,600 from 2,000. So it's a 400 calorie drop, which is 20%, and they lose weight. So they then lose weight at 1,600 compared to 1,200 when they started. And they will get back, they got back, like I've had it where they get back down to where they were and then continue to lose at 1,600, and their energy levels are so much higher. They're moving more, they're more active, and generally just feeling a lot better too.
Aren't reverse diets just wonderful?
Pretty cool, hey?
So wonderful.
So that's where you'd want to go to at the end, where it depends on where you start. So you can make that decision now. Like if you're thinking about a reverse diet, like you can go, okay, I've been under eating. I know that I'm going to reverse diet, build up, stay at maintenance for 4 to 6 weeks, and then go back into a deficit. Or I've just achieved my incredible fat loss result. I want to go through a build, but I know I need to reverse diet first. Reverse diet, sit at maintenance, then build.
And that's the beauty of doing this sort of stuff. it's not just like a one-dimensional goal. It's not like, okay, I'm going to diet for 12 Heidi, I'm going to diet for 12 weeks, and when I get to the end of it, that's it. Yeah. Like, no. You can then go through a reverse diet. You can then sit at maintenance. You can then build. You can then go back into a fat loss phase and then back into a reverse diet and then maintenance. And it's never ending, which is the fun part. That's
exactly.
like where the physique transformations that a lot of people might see online, they're like, whoa, like they look incredible. I can guarantee you that they have gone through 4, 5, 6 reverse diets, 4, 5, 6 fat loss phases, 6, 8, 10 muscle building phases.
Yeah, literally. Like you have to go through that long-term journey and that long-term process. We get so many people who come to us just to lose weight, and it's like, great, we will help you lose weight in one way or the other, whatever like way we need to be able to help you lose weight. But we want to help you maintain that weight loss. Like if you finish up, you will go back to where you were unless you go through this process. And I'm going to be completely honest that you need to have a coach to help you reverse diet for the first time. When you first do a first reverse diet, you need a coach. If you don't have a coach going through that process, you're not going to be adherent to it. You're going to hate it. You're going to then just go, oh, actually, I gained a little bit of weight this week. Why don't I just, starve myself this week and cut back again, or just completely go off track altogether, as you said. Either way. And you need to have that accountability to stay adherent. Reassurance. And like we've seen it hundreds of times. We've done it hundreds and hundreds of times. Like you said at the start, hiring someone who knows more than you and has done more than you. Like if we see different trends happen with someone going through a reverse diet and they start to panic. We know exactly why. Yeah, we can go, oh, well, is it this? Is it this? Is it this? This is why. Okay, what was your adherence like? Oh, I actually had a couple of cookies each day. So your adherence was not quite there. And like that's where a coach will really, really come in. And for your first reverse diet, like you need a coach. Yeah. And everyone, I think, should have a coach, to be honest. Like if you look at world-class bodybuilders who go through this process of cutting, getting on stage, and reverse dieting, they have coaches. And Gem Pop and bodybuilders, they're not too dissimilar.
No. But even like to flip this on its head, to talk about our business, we've had a business mentor our entire business. The entire time we've been in business, we've had a mentor.
Yeah. You always got to learn from someone who's done it before you or someone who's helped others do what you want to do. Yep. Like it's really, really crucial.
Absolutely.
Reverse dieting. So I can't wait to see everyone reverse dieting their way through the next few months. Like I said,
if you're not a client and you tune into the Coaching Society podcast and you're sitting there and you're like, yep, tick, 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 I am all of those things that Mick and Russ have just said. And if you reach out and say, Mick, I want to go through a reverse diet, I'm probably going to cry.
Literally. And it's actually the secret to lifelong transformations is reverse dieting. It is. Like you can't maintain a lifelong transformation unless you do a reverse diet.
It is like
it's the secret.
I've never looked at it that way. Yeah. It is actually the secret.
Yeah. How good.
Wow, you just cracked the code. You've just cracked the code.
Yeah, and go crack the shits with Heidi for snoring the whole way through the episode.
I really hope that wasn't picked up on the microphone.
I've
just been staring at her one black hair.
Yeah, I know. For a white dog.
So for anyone who hasn't seen Heidi, she's a Samoyed. So she's like pure white. On her belly or on her back, she has this one really
She's had it since she was a puppy.
Yeah, like black hair. And we tell her that she's going like grey, even though she's going black. And it's actually hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyone who wants to see it, just message me and I'll send you a photo because it's actually really funny.
We need to get out more.
I know, we need a live.
We need to do something with our lives. We just talk about the black hair that Heidi's got on her back. But anyway, no one else wants to listen to that. So catch you all in the next one. Hope you can take a bit from this. If anyone's got questions on reverse dieting, we aren't the experts because there will always be someone who knows more than us, but we know enough to be able to help you. And see you in the next episode because we don't know what it's going to be on.
Bye.
Bye.